Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to CPSC online class. Dear class 9 10 students, as a gradual process of CPSC online class, today I'm going to give you a class on track questions. It's the last part, as I already given three consecutive classes. So today is the last part, and today I will try to discuss Joshua Board 2020, and I request you to please start the class with exercise book and pen. So our first part, actually our first question is everybody respects freedom fighters. Well, the sentence actually started with everybody, and we know that there is a rule on every, all, one, anyone. So if that type of words is in the beginning, we have to put they as pronoun, and here is also we get respects. Actually we know that we don't use doesn't or does after they. So as we don't use does after they, we are not allowed to use does before they. So the answer is don't they. And I request you please try to do it yourself first, then try to match the answers with me. Question number B, the fought for the independence of our country. Here we got subject as they and fought as verb, and for the independence of our country's extension. So here, as we already got the subject they, so it is a pronoun, so we can use they as pronoun here, but we don't have any auxiliary verb, so we have to use doesn't, don't, or didn't, as it is an example of past indefinite tense. So we have to use didn't, as it is an example of affirmative sentence. So we'll write didn't and they as pronoun. Okay, so in number C, we got their sacrifice has given us freedom in every sphere of life. Here their sacrifice, actually sometimes we feel that their sacrifice is something plural. No, it's not plural, it's singular, because sacrifice is an example of uncountable noun, and we know that uncountable noun is always singular. So sacrifice is an example of singular form. So we know that in third person singular number we use it as pronoun, and as we have has as auxiliary verb, so we can use hasn't, as it is an example of affirmative sentence. Look at number D. Their names are written in golden letters. Here names is a plural form. Okay, so their names, actually names is plural form, and we know that in the case of third person plural number we can use they as pronoun, and as we have are as a form of be verb, so we can use are directly, but we have to add not, that means aren't, as it is an example of affirmative sentence. We have to do negative tag. Okay, and number E, we should never forget them. It is an example of negative sentence. For this we have to make affirmative tag. So and we have also noticed that we got should as auxiliary verb, so we can use should we, not shouldn't we, because here never exists. So it is an example of negative sentence. And as I mentioned earlier, So we have to do negative affirmative tag in case of affirmative sentence. And after that, the last board, actually in this example we got Dinajpur and Kumilla board in 2020. The questions were same, and what is more interesting, we got Joshua. It is the question also came in 2017 in Joshua board. So it is a very example. It is a very important board for our examination. So let's start. The freedom fighters are the real heroes. The freedom fighters are the real heroes. Try to write down the answer yourself, then try to match it with my answers. Okay, the freedom fighters, plural number, third person plural, and we know that if the subject is third person plural number, we need to write they. Okay, and here we got be verb are, so we can write aren't they. It is like the example of I think D number of the previous board. Nothing is greater than their sacrifice. In case of thing, we use it, as it is an example of uncountable noun. And here we got is. So at first glance, you may write isn't it, but actually it is a wrong answer, because here we got nothing. So it is an example of negative sentence. So we have to make affirmative tag. Okay, so we'll write is it. Okay, well, don't put much gap actually. Try to write in a good order, in proper order actually. And in number C, their contribution for our country will always be remembered. Okay, try to find out the subject. Their contribution is the subject, and for our country it's extension of the subject. So will always be. We know that here we got two auxiliary verb. So in case of two auxiliary verbs, we will have to use the first one. So we got will. So we'll have to use only will, not be. So in case of more than one auxiliary verbs, we have to use the first auxiliary verb. As it is an example of affirmative sentence, we will have to make negative tag. So we know that will not, short form is won't. And their contribution, we know that contribution is an example of abstract noun which is uncountable. So we'll have to write third person singular, as we know that uncountable noun is always singular. So we'll have to write it, won't it. Okay, we should never neglect them. Now in number D we got we should never neglect them. Well, we should never. So we already understood that it is an example of negative sentence. So we have to make affirmative tag. We got should as auxiliary verb and we as subject. So we can write should we. Okay, and the last part of our tag questions analysis. Every citizen of Bangladesh must have due respect for them. Well, every citizen, we know that the sentence which starts with every, we use they in tag question as pronoun, and we got must as auxiliary verb. So we know that it's an example of modal auxiliary. So we can write must not they. So I think you already understood that tag question is very, very easy, and but still I do believe that if we practice, if we discuss the topic every now and then, it is also it will also be more and more clarified. So to me, uh, I am going to give you some homeworks. Please note that you will have to do board question 2019, 2018, 2000 and 2000, sorry, and 2017. Some of the exams, some of the boards already came in 2020, and when you do 2019, you got some of the board questions is already appeared in the previous board exams. So my request, please perform it at home and circle the wrong answers, so that you can understand and you can revise it before the exam. And I hope, inshallah, you are going to get full marks in tag question. And if you have any query, please SMS me, or you can call me even. Okay, and inshallah in the classroom we will discuss more. Thank you all. Assalamu alaikum.